Hello everyone and welcome to a very special episode of Zeng This, our Read This edition, featuring Volume 2 of Copperhead. You got me, Zenger.
And I'm Ellie.
And we've got a special guest with us, the co-creator and artist of Copperhead, Scott Godlewski. And I think I got the pronunciation right.
That is correct. Good
Yay.
job.
Yes, awesome. So we've got him joining us to discuss Volume 2 of Copperhead, as well as just being an artist within the comic book industry, too. So, Ellie, I'm pretty sure you want to start out of the gates with this one.
Well, I kind of want to dive into Copperhead, of course. Now, just so everybody knows out there listening, we're just discussing Volume 2. So there have been a couple issues that have come out since the collected 6 to 10 in Volume 2, but we're just talking about stuff from Volume 2, so we don't want to jump ahead for anybody that isn't quite there yet.
So no spoilers if you're up to date.
I won't let anything slip.
So I just wanted to start out by saying I just absolutely love your artwork, of course. And one of the things that I love in the series is, now starting issue 11, you're just doing covers, is that correct?
Right, yeah, so the next couple of volumes,
okay.
And the next couple of volumes are going to be 4 issues each.
Okay.
So 11 through 18 will not be my interiors. It'll be by the supremely talented Drew Moss.
Awesome. I just wanted to make sure I didn't want to tell people the wrong thing.
Actually, I
go ahead.
got a quick question on that. Since you are the co-creator, are you still doing anything with the story through this time that you're not doing the artwork, or is that all of Jay now, right now with the story?
Whatever input Jay asks for, I'll give him.
Okay, cool. I just want to know, since you guys are in this together, so I just didn't know how much input you had since you've stepped away from doing the artwork for the time being.
Yeah, the story, the actual storyline has always been pretty much him, and every now and then he'll ask, "What do you think of this?" or what about this, that, or what? It's nice. I mean, as the other half of the creator duo, it's nice to have that input into guys on my side of the credits don't usually get to do.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's cool. I just wanted to ask that real quick. So, Ellie, I think you had some follow-ups.
Oh, yeah. But I was just saying, one thing I love about the art is I don't even have to read the dialogue or the bubbles to really know the emotions and the thoughts of some of these characters. You draw them so well, and I just love that. So I wanted to thank you so much for that. Just their emotions really come through the pages because of your art.
Oh, well, thank you for saying that.
No.
That's one of those first rules of comic book art when you talk to anybody is you should be able to tell what's going on the page without the word balloons, before a writer gets in there and messes everything up. No, it's one of the things I take probably the most pride in is character acting. It is not just drawing pinups and cover poses all the time. It's a story about people. You should be able to sympathize and empathize, and the best way to do that, I think, at least through still images, through body language.
Right. Yeah, and that's one thing that reads really well with Copperhead is the people are so down to earth, and like you really can relate to them. When you read a lot of the comic book series with the big guys that have all the superpowers and all that, sometimes it is hard to get into it because it's not relatable. But that's what I love about this is everybody has a story, and they feel so grounded, and some of their problems are problems that you or your next door neighbor could have. So that's what's really nice about it. And I just wanted to mention too that Ron Riley's color is amazing, but I'm sure it wouldn't have been as good if it wasn't for the art that he is coloring. So the colors really set a good picture too.
Yeah, Ron's one of my heroes. He really kills it on that book, and it's nice to have him there for the continuity between my arcs and with Drew coming in.
Right.
I've heard that stylistically he's not that big a departure. I mean, I'm sure he would say the same thing looking at our stuff, that we're just completely different people. But yeah, having Ron to sort of tie those two things together is it's a benefit not a lot of books have.
Yeah, that's awesome. And one other thing I wanted to say, I'm not sure what Zenger wants to say about the comic book, but Copperhead issue 12, I can't get out of my mind how much the Doctor reminds me of Jim Gordon. I don't know.
On the cover.
Yeah, on the cover that you drew. I don't know what it is. It just, every time I see it, it makes me think of Jim Gordon.
Oh, yeah, maybe. I never thought of that. The glasses and the mustache.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's his demeanor and everything.
Cigarette.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely see. She pointed that out to me, and I was looking at it when she said it, and I'm like, yeah, I can kind of see that. I'm like,
so now you can't unsee it.
Yeah, it's one of
sorry.
those things, so that's very cool. But speaking of, I guess, kind of inspirations of characters, there's a lot of very, I guess, unique looking characters in Copperhead and very original designs. Where, if you don't mind us asking, where'd you come up with some of these ideas for, I mean, Bo and a lot of the other like aliens and non-humans, and of course the humans as well in the Copperhead universe?
I've always liked drawing non-human characters, so I like monsters and that sort of stuff. I don't know that it really comes from anywhere. I guess Star Wars would be the biggest influence.
Ooh.
But yeah, well, when I'm drawing the characters, they're all they all have the same characteristics. Like they're all bipedal, and everybody's got arms and eyeballs and stuff. I guess, and the reason behind that is not going crazy with the alien designs and putting tentacles on everything and having blobs and weird sort of stuff, is that in the back of my head, I keep, I don't want to say wishing, but maybe someday there'll be like a Copperhead TV show. So I want, I want actors to be able to be inside of these things.
Right.
Yeah,
that's some good thinking
I guess
ahead.
when part of the thing, I guess consciously, while I do that sort of stuff, is thinking like, what would Jim Henson do? How would they make this in their workshop?
That's an interesting
that is
comparison there to the Muppets, and I mean all Jim Henson stuff. So, Ellie, do you got a?
Oh, as far as Copperhead?
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not going to go too much into the story because I want to focus more on the art part of it. So.
No problem. All right, so something I've been kind of interested in the realm of the creative process, I guess, is what are you really given as an artist to go off of to create the panels and everything? Like for Copperhead as an example, or any comic you've done. What are you given to kind of go wild with? Like, is there directions, or are you just kind of given a free blank slate to draw whatever you feel would match the script?
Well, it's different on something like Copperhead, where I'm the co-creator and this is our thing. There's no editorial staff or there's no company mandate for anything. The industry standard for stuff is a full script, so you get whatever the book is, 20, 22 pages or whatever. Every page is broken down by panel, so the writer is going through and describing action and giving you dialogue for each panel, so you're told how many panels are on the page, who's speaking, and who's doing what. And we did the first issue of Copperhead that way. Jay gave me a full script. And we got it around the second issue, and he was getting into his TV work and said, I don't really have time for a full script. Would you mind a plot? I said, sure. I've never done that. That sounds interesting. Let's do that. So we did that, and I really enjoyed it, and he seemed to like the results. So for the rest of the run, we just did just plot only. So he sends me a page breakdown, but he leaves all of the pacing, panel number placements, character action, all of that stuff is up to me. So I do the finished art. I sort of, when I get his plot, I don't write it out myself, but I go through and I sort of break down the beats of what I think this character needs to do here. How long this scene should take, how many panels is this going to need, and I do it, and I give it back to him. I think I even do thumbnails, which are little drawings. Most people, like if you're working at one of the larger publishers or any publisher, really, they're going to ask for thumbnails. Nobody wants to be surprised on any sort of project with a deadline. Nobody wants to redraw anything, least of all me. So you just draw itty-bitty pictures, just stick figures or whatever. You just scribble out, this is what I'm thinking. And they approve that. But I don't even do that on this book. I go right into the page. I give Jay a finished page, and then he goes in and he scripts it. He dialogues it. And that's how we've been doing it for since issue 1. And it's been great. There's only been one other time I've gotten a plot-only script, but it's my absolute favorite. It's absolutely my favorite thing.
Well, that's a really cool peek behind the curtain with that.
Yeah, that was interesting.
So I guess if you can tell us and our listeners this, I guess another quick little peek behind the curtain is, like, what's the time scale for doing like one issue of a comic? Like how long would that take you, and then how long does it normally take to actually make print into where I'm sitting in a comic book store picking it up and reading it normally?
Well, it's different at different places. So Image requires at least 3 completed issues before they'll solicit the first one. How long it takes you to do those 3 issues is up to you, because Image is really only a publishing house. They don't own any of the stuff. They're not giving page rates for anything. They're just putting out your book, and you're getting paid on the back end. So you put in the work, and however long it takes you, it takes you. But when it's done, they'll get it out there for you.
Awesome.
But other places, like I can't speak for Marvel. I mean, at DC, it's a giant corporation.
Yeah.
And they've got books to get out all the time. I mean, I guess right now they're double shipping on Superman, and I don't know if it's the same on Batman. I think it's the same on a bunch of other books over there as well. But yeah, I mean, it could be you have 3 weeks to get line art on this, and as you're turning it in, it's getting colored and lettered. So 4 weeks after you finish it, it's on store shelves.
Wow.
The time crunch can be pretty intense.
It sounds like it.
But yeah. I guess to answer your question, generally it's about 30 days for anybody to get through an issue, and it's I think publishers like to have maybe 2 or 3 months cushion between the completion of line art and it having to ship. But I think the reality of that is probably that it's only a matter of weeks between me being done and it being on the shelves for you to buy.
All right, awesome. Well, that was cool. That's something I've always kind of wondered about, and I guess I wanted to get it from the horse's mouth, I guess, on someone who has experienced that firsthand. I guess we're going to kind of move now away from Copperhead into some other stuff you've worked on in the world of comics. Ellie, I'm sure you've got some stuff to go on. You seem a little excited to get going on this.
Well, I was interested in just seeing some more stuff that you've done in the past, and I'm not sure how far this got along or if any, but I saw some images of something that you created, Monstrose Dinosaur Man of Neptune, and it just looks so freaking cool. And I just wanted to know a little bit more about it. I think I read somewhere that you were either it was you or your father was inspired by like the old like B movies, science fiction-y movies from the past, and that's kind of what was the inspiration. So if you want to elaborate on that, I'm not sure, but just curious.
Sure. Yeah, no, that's pretty accurate. Yeah, I mean, my dad was a fan of those kind of movies. The Thing from Outer Space and Creature from the Black Lagoon, and Them is one of my favorites. So yeah, I mean, that stuff was always on, and I don't know, I like drawing monsters, and I like those kind of movies. The movies usually really, really suck, but the idea of them is just so fun. So I wanted to do something like that. I wanted to take that sort of that aesthetic and that sensibility and just tell a contemporary story with that sort of backdrop. So Monstrose Dinosaur Man of Neptune was never anything really more than a couple of sketches. I did one proper page that I think I posted online somewhere, and that's the farthest it's ever gotten.
Okay.
I don't know if it's in me anymore. I would like to do something that's totally me at some point. If it's gonna be Monstrose, I don't know. I think a lot of Monstrose's character design has been appropriated by Boo at this point.
I can see that.
Yeah, I can see the comparison.
I don't know if I have. I'm thinking that itch has been scratched.
And it's a good updated version of him. So.
Well, since we've been mentioning him, Scott, how would you pronounce Bo's proper name? Since I got Jay to do this, I want to see.
It's Boudroxophinicus, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, that sounds about like what Jay said.
Yeah.
I like Boo much better.
Yes.
Yeah, I've never had to spell it. I saw it in print one time in the first issue when I got the script, and I didn't even bother sounding it out.
Okay, sorry. It just dawned on me that we asked him how to pronounce it, so I guess it would only be fair to ask you.
And I listened to that episode this afternoon, so that's how I know.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Nice.
All right. There's some other projects that I know that you've worked on that Ellie did a lot of background research on you, and
I was interested.
So.
I've got my social security number now too.
Oh no, I'm not that good. The Mysterious Adventure magazine. Could you elaborate just a little bit on that?
Well, that was my brainchild. I guess it must have been 07 or 08. I had met a friend online named Matt Bennett, and we sort of had the same interest in sort of old pulp stories, and I wanted to do something in that vein, like a cheap black and white action adventure magazine was my sort of goal with that, and it was like a inexperienced schmuck. I went online and I asked other artists to do free work for this magazine. But we ended up, having a lot of really talented guys want to contribute stuff. Like, Evan Shaner had a story in one of them, and Joe Delegata and Josh Covey, and I'm sure I'm forgetting other folks. I apologize, but yeah, it was fun. I think we only got 4 issues out, and they were somewhere like 30, 40, 50 pages an issue, something like that, and it was a lot of fun to do. It was when none of us had time to do any of this stuff, so this was all just, you know, in the middle of the night after work.
Little
weekends,
hobby side project.
Yeah, it was all just hobby stuff. And
yeah.
But, you know, I remember it very fondly. It was a lot of fun, and I met a lot of nice people. And, yeah, I think some of those are still floating around. I had a friend of mine tell me that he was at Heroes Con, I think, last summer, and somebody brought an issue up for him to sign.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's very strange. But, yeah, somebody enjoyed it, I guess.
See? Yeah, exactly. Well, great. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it.
Thanks for asking about it.
Oh, no problem.
I know that there's an announcement you made recently that I'm very excited about, or I guess a reveal of sorts that I'm very excited about, and I think you are as well. Over the summer, you're going to be actually doing a certain character. Would you mind discussing that with us a little bit?
Yeah. So this July, I will be drawing issues 26 and 27 of Superman.
Yay!
That is exciting.
Yeah, it's super cool. It's not anything I thought would ever happen, and it's really neat. I mean, it's going back to sort of the Monstros thing. My dad's favorite character was Superman.
Oh,
so it's neat to be able to have my name on that book for however long it is they'll have me.
Oh yeah, that's such an honor.
Now, which is it just the Super? Because I know that they have a few different titles for Superman. So if you could just let us know, which is it? Just the Superman one, or is it like
it's
the action?
Superman proper?
Okay,
so,
Superman. Okay,
yeah, it's not Action Comics.
Or Superman and Son, I think, is one of them.
So they have Super Sons with Robin and Superboy, and yeah, it's just Superman.
All right, awesome. I mean,
yeah.
Can you tell us how that came about at all, or any behind the scenes stuff with
sure.
that? Oh, cool,
yeah,
cool.
Well,
yes.
Yeah. In I think summer of 15, Vertigo had gotten a hold of me and asked if I wanted to do a miniseries. And so we did that, and that led into another miniseries, the Lost Boys book that we just wrapped up this spring. Tim Seeley was writing that, and that was also at Vertigo. And somewhere, I want to say it's around issue 3 or something, I get an email from the Superman office saying, you know, we dig what you're doing. I'm a big fan of Copperhead. Do you think you would want to do an issue of Superman? And I'm like, Superman? No. Who would want to do that?
That's crazy.
Yeah, jeez. So, yeah. So I guess he talked to my Vertigo editor, and he came back. He was like, yeah, Jamie says you can do both books. So, okay. Yeah, let's do that. So, but he gave me he gave me something like 2 months to do this. It's what they call an inventory issue. So it's a standalone story, because they're double shipping. So yeah. I imagine it's something, you know, in a deadline crunch or something unforeseen happens, they can just plug it in wherever they want in the schedule. So I did that. Maybe it sees print at some point, maybe in an annual. Anyway, I finished Lost Boys, and so then they asked me to do some more work, and I do some more work, and apparently everybody's happy with it. And then they come back and say, yo, how about a couple of real issues, just you. So, yeah, that's how that happened. And, yeah, it's absolutely incredible getting that that email from a Superman editor was probably the coolest thing that's ever happened to me.
It definitely sounds cool. It's like that's definitely something that sounds really cool. And the author I know for the Superman comic that currently is
Pete Tomasi.
Tomasi, thank you.
Yeah. And Pat Gleason, who is the regular artist on the book, is also the co-writer.
Ah, cool.
So they're scripting together. Yeah.
I remember Peter's stuff from when he did Green Lantern Corps.
Yep.
Years ago,
yep,
when he was the opposite to Jeff Johns' run on Green Lantern.
Yep.
And I remember getting a lot of that stuff because they had like the crossover stuff for like Sinestro Corps and Blackest Night, and I always really enjoyed that stuff that he did. So it's really cool, and I know he's moved on to like Batman and Superman since then. I mean that's like years ago now, technically, all that stuff. So
yeah.
So stuff definitely moves fast, but yeah, I just wanted to bring that up and talk about that real quick because I'm a big fan of Superman, so I'll definitely be picking up those issues, and it was really cool to hear that announcement. And I think you announced it on Twitter, or I found out about it because this is something I was about to bring up next. Is you have your own podcast too that you do with
Ryan Cody.
Cody, there we go. Sorry.
Yeah. It's. Well, I mean, for an hour every week, I sit in front of a microphone and say stuff. Ryan is he's the heart and soul of that thing. He does all of the heavy lifting. I just try not to sound stupid for an hour a week. And 30 episodes in, I've done it maybe twice.
Well, I definitely enjoy listening to it, to be honest. I definitely like listening to it. It's really cool to hear you guys discussing kind of some behind the scenes stuff of being artists. You've done an episode about discussing how panel layouts and stuff are done, which I thought was really cool to hear you guys discuss that. I'm now reading Hellboy now, thanks to you guys too.
Oh wow!
So I definitely picked up the I tweeted at you guys the one issue that you guys actually discussed in the episode, and then you said, hey, you should pick up the next one. And I picked up that one as well, and I need to pick up those and start reading them again. It's just I kind of get a little bit behind, but yeah, definitely. I love the Hellboy movie. So when you guys were recommending comics, I just never knew where to start. So listening to that episode really got me moving on actually, getting into and reading some of Hellboy. So thanks for giving me a outlet to find out where to start with that. So thanks for that.
No, I am happy that you found Mike Mignola's stuff. Mm-hmm. That guy is he's an industry treasure. I think we did a Mount Rushmore episode where we had to name our 4 top influences, and he's on mine. If I could put him on all 4, I would put him on all 4.
Nice.
Awesome. Well, that was one of our things was going to be, who's a good inspiration for you, or who do you look up to, and I guess you just answered that for us. And so another great episode. I'm sorry to talk about the it's called The Illustrious Gentlemen, correct?
Correct.
Yes. The Illustrious Gentlemen, and I think I'm going to steal a little bit of promo for you real quick. You guys each week just discuss kind of whatever's on your mind, and you enjoy a beer while doing it. Mostly a craft beer, per se.
Whatever I can get my hands on that morning. Yeah.
But you guys had a very this is I think the one episode that locked me in. I think it was actually my first episode I listened to of it was the Alien versus Aliens.
Yes.
Which I thought that was a very interesting discussion, and I side with Aliens, to be honest.
Oh, good man.
I do. I think that series, I don't mind the action, I mean the horror side of it, but I feel it does better as an action movie, to be honest. So. Yeah.
I don't want to relitigate that whole argument.
I'm not trying to throw kerosene on that fire, but I'm just letting you know I sided with you on that one.
I'm not saying if you like Alien more that you're dumb. I'm just saying.
Well, is there anything else you're working on that you'd like to tell our audience about, or anything else you like to plug?
Just those 2 issues of Superman this summer. I will be returning to Copperhead. I think I sat down to draw my first pages of it last night.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's coming. And that's it. Yeah, just Superman, Copperhead. Keep buying those single issues.
Mm-hmm.
Drew's awesome. Story gets better. Yeah, and you plug the podcasts. If you want to hear more of this for whatever reason, you can listen to the Illustrious Gentlemen. Find that at I think tigshow.com. I think is it.
Mm-hmm.
I never listened to the show, so I don't know. But yeah, I think that's it. Anyway, you can Google it and.
Awesome. And if people want to find out more about you, what's the best way to find out more about you or follow you in the world of the internet?
Well, I'm on Twitter. I'm Scotty God everywhere on the internet. So SCOTTYGOD. You'll find me at Twitter. I think I've got an Instagram, but I never use it. Tumblr, never use that either. I'm on DeviantArt. I've got a gallery over there if you just want to go.
We were checking that out before we recorded.
I thought that's where you had found all that stuff. And I do have a website, but it doesn't work. So sorry about that, too.
Oh, and I have a question really quick, too. Do you, being that it's getting ready to really hype up into the whole con season, do you usually appear at any cons if anybody wants to ever, like, maybe meet you, get some original artwork done, that sort of thing? Is that something that you ever do?
I'm going to be at Phoenix Comic-Con at the end of May. I think it's Memorial Day weekend. I only do that one, though, because I can just drive home afterward. I have crippling anxiety, so the idea of flying or driving out of town and having expenses and not making my money back just freaks the hell out of me.
Yes, the con thing can be very expensive.
Yeah. So no, I just do that one. Occasionally Tucson Comic-Con when I can get down there in November, but unless somebody wants to fly me out, you won't find me anywhere else.
Okay, good to know.
Awesome. I kind of forgot one other thing. This is something we kind of asked Jay, and you kind of hinted at earlier. Out of the works you've done, what would you like to see possibly made into maybe a TV show or movie? And you kind of already hinted at your answer to that being Copperhead.
Yeah, I would love to see a Copperhead TV show. Like, I don't know, like HBO or Showtime or something, or...
I can see it. I can definitely see it.
Yeah, even maybe like FX, I think, would make a good show. Or any other network that wants to give us money.
Now, you're open.
Now, would you like to see that as a live action or animated possibly?
Live action.
Okay.
I would like. It would be super cool to go to set and be able to touch the costumes and stuff. And,
yeah.
It'd be cool to do like a secret cameo in one of those get-ups.
Oh, nice. Oh, and speaking of secret cameos, I'm sorry we're extending this a little bit, but as an artist, do you ever draw any of your friends, family, or yourself into any of your artwork you do for Copperhead or any other comic? Or is that a secret?
Well, no. I'm sure I've done it. I think I've drawn Ron Riley, the colorist, and Tom Maurer, the letterer. I think I've put them in a scene in Vol.2.
Oh, now we got to try to find.
We got to look through it now.
Yeah, I think they're the two guys at the bar in the restaurant.
Okay.
All right. Well, cool. I just wanted to.
Right? But yeah, I've done that sort of stuff.
I just wanted to ask that, and just a little thing. I know Ellie was praising the artwork earlier, and this is something I pointed out to her that I thought was kind of interesting. on their police uniforms, how they have the lights on each side of them. The red and the blue. I don't know why. It was just something when I saw it, it just...
It is cool.
It was just, I was like, that's really
It's a
cool.
nice little detail.
It's subtle, it's cool, but it's something that I can totally see making it a little bit more futuristic sci-fi to have the cops have the actual lights built into their uniform.
I thought it was so stupid.
Hey,
it's my fault. I did it. I mean, when we were drawing up the character sheets and stuff, I colored them up to sort of give a color guide, and I put the lights on the shoulders, thinking look how silly this would be, and then it stayed.
Oh, hey, you've got one fan of it.
It's appreciated.
You definitely got one fan.
Everybody mentions it. It's so weird. I think it's so ridiculous.
It's the subtle touches that they give it that I guess lifelike feel to it.
Yeah, well, when you see it live action with it blinking blue and red on the Showtime series.
There you go. Yeah, see, that's where it pays off. That's where it pays off. All right, Scott. Well, thank you again for being on. We appreciate it so much.
Thank you
it was a pleasure to talk to you, and everyone definitely go out and pick up the newest issues of Copperhead, and make sure to pick up Superman issues number 26 and 27.
Yes.
All right, awesome. And once again, thanks for being on. We're going to go to a quick break, and we'll be back with more of
Zeng This.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. That was a very fun interview with Scott.
Oh, it was great.
I really enjoyed a lot of the, input he had. Got a little bit of a look behind the scenes on some stuff, and I'm really excited for those issues of Superman.
Oh, yeah.
And, of course, for his return to Copperhead and everything would definitely be really cool. But, so that wraps up our Read This.
Yeah.
Pretty well. Our first standalone Read This for Copperhead. We will shortly be having our announcement about what our next episode of Read This will be next month, and you can look forward to those at probably the last week of the month, normally.
Yeah, typically. Typically,
it will be the last week of the month, Wednesday, Thursday. So some of the best ways to get a hold of us are, of course, on...
well, you can listen to us on SoundCloud.
You can also go onto iTunes, Zeng This, and give us a 5-star review. We greatly appreciate those. Helps out the podcast a lot.
Yeah, that's great. And then Stitcher.
Mm-hmm. And Google Play as well.
Yep. And then you can tweet at us on Twitter at Zeng This.
And also you can tweet at us any recommendations you might have for Watch This or Read This. We would love
comments on the most recent episode.
Mm-hmm. If you picked up the comic and read it, we'd definitely love to hear that. You can also get on our Facebook page as well.
Zeng This. Yep.
You can also find us on Instagram.
At Zeng This Podcast.
You can also find us on YouTube by searching Zeng This.
Mm-hmm.
And you can find us playing some games every now and then on...
Twitch.tv/Zeng This.
And if you want to help contribute to the podcast, you can, of course, always go to patreon.com/Zeng
This.
And finally, if you'd like to email us as well, you can go to
zengthis@gmail.com.
And we'll take recommendations on there too.
Yeah.
For Zeng This, for Read This or Watch This. And finally, as always, DJ Golden Boy
89.
Play us out.